Okay, people, international. I'm back again. Still about jealousing my case. Actually, seems very dominant about local peoples. Actually, want to cut my pioneering case, my advocating self. I want to make conference again. That's because also being pushed, being company and also for me the progress value actually. On this moment calendar, Saturday, 23 August 2025, I want to apologize for my coincidence English speech also. Kind of suddenly actually. I got disturbed and just needed for make this report. Okay, we try again from my residence laboratory case, supernatural indigo, kind of like that. I hope we stay alive in here, okay, for being company on each other's. I don't know, as just being pessimist also from this contact happening, contact touching body happening and say we need communication in here. It kind of sustains needed and just being trust, being compatible for become the particular actually not very lazy for me. Can take say about that also. Okay guys, I think that's for the first beginning. I made it slowly, okay, still speaking English. I'm definitely being become, okay, that's also what I can say. Just got that's for my scholarships was to be English, not very comfort perhaps for about international Asia and also Arab also. I want to apologize for first beginning on this conference again. I hope this can be translated as simple for being understand. Context actually I already big predictions actually since years before my reform. About international millennium going to on particular about case supernatural him commanding goods and grave. There's already been conversations between alien family and peoples on United States of America. Say and kind of being simulated actually on that years and kind of shocking for about my reform on this day. I want to say hi there. I'm the particular that meaning by alien family on those years was to be. Yeah. Actually, I'm also surprised that's okay. Just happening, not being predictions also by me. Yeah, all we got for that information actually I already been told actually since years before my reform on United States. For meaning also international also seems already being said for about my reform also. reticular pentagram Satan, yeah. 666 millennium going to Rife and Mephistophelic. Okay, that's me. Kind of nervous actually. This actually indigo. Very needed for alibi. Okay, I'm being dumped, being argued from this contact also, say from Indonesia, Jakarta also, and local neighborhood in my town. They're contacting me to this moment night, this morning, actually since this night also, last night. Contact say ini sekarang actually kinda complain for about my pioneering case. That need to be reported also, say for that. Since this night also until this morning, since they were contacting to me for sure about my case actually, just kind of joke, not actually needed to be serious actually, but definitely complain, okay, for that, because this actually serious, not joking actually. Context say Indonesian government from Jakarta will not going to responsible for this particular criminal. They just contacting me and say I actually suspect it goes to my neighborhood and are being pushed by them to make self-executions, kind of killing somebody for that meaning also, and none being guided, none being accompanied by government. Just alone for about this case. Context for that also. Seems this contacting also not kind of responsible for the identity, but I believe that also government. I just need to report for my evaluation of following this progress actually, because seems very indications truly a similar like that, a similar with that, not hallucinations for my contact happening actually. I'm being suggested to make murder somebody in here on my town, in my neighborhood, meaning. And just not going to be advocate for being prisons after that. Context say this actually just being run by government actually, because on that potential not to blame to get away from the responsible. But suddenly also I'm being confused also by the contact happening, since they're kind of rivaling each other for his contacting, since there is two groups actually contacting me, and they're both actually from similar residents from Jakarta. I don't know, just being suggested to make the conference report so can be accommodated for the conclusions actually. Context say this actually about my parents, my fathers actually, and my mothers. Made statement of responding contact from Jakarta since last night with statement suggesting government to not responsible my case or about my reward money case also for me. And the situation progress seems being directions for about competition twofold. I do not seems they want to changing this case to about competitions English speech for national Indonesia. Kind of weird for the contact happening after actually. So this actually need to be changed positions. For about internet ID 666 on discovery meaning definitive potentials for promote Indonesian national politicians to become international particular or perhaps about obsessions to make English speech as Indonesian national politic communication language on this day, on this progress. I don't know, I just being pushed to report for that also. Context say this actually for about Israel seems on ambitions for communications international particular for meaning also perhaps about Iran also or perhaps about America, Indonesia also. I don't know. This being pushed to me, being yelling to me to changing positions, particular internet. Actually, not kind of intense for about internet ID 666 one could discover me. That's also for the confirmations contact since last night until this morning. Okay, I'm definitive complaint for that. Okay, this actually my case. I'm pioneering this case and I will definitely progress until this year 2025. Going to be blunder for about some people's obsessions to become international particular politic meaning also promote for Indonesians connections on this case actually. I mean, I'm still not being responsible for meaning actually. I believe they just made joke for about this contacting also. Contact confirmation also said this actually need to be struck for about the advocating case identifying suspect to Mr. Adibana, my fathers. Contact say my fathers actually just make communications contact with Jakarta and just being negotiate and success actually for the result. Actually, I'm not going to be responsible by them. Context say my fathers actually their delegations to get communications will meet with me on my residence. That's kind of truth, okay. I just got for the indications based on my interactions morning on this calendar also with my my parents. But I believe that's not point for made stop about my advocating case internet actually. Just independence, okay, because my case actually include also people's, not just my parents. That's also need to be understand. Actually, we in front of law for about this case actually. I'm being bluff. That's also because my weakness, not kinda expert for English speech, and already being challenged as real forum, real meat, perhaps, by some body that seems already being attentions, already being watched, already being evaluated by alibi also. I will not going to receive for that appointment challenging, okay. Just definitive still available for being independent in here, because actually will the directions for our contacting. Okay, that's my first beginning conference on this morning. The kind of obsessions by somebody, not made attention for about my case actually. I'm definitive being proof also in same time for that. Context actually the forum in Jakarta. This also being confirmations to me since last night actually for about suspect groups actually, but being confused, being manipulated, because also the informations now being messaged directly to Internet ID 6661 discovery actually. Since 2008 until this year 2025, still similar for the persons by persons suspect actually, and just changing their status actually as Indonesians politicians for challenging Internet ID 6661 discovery. Kind of dummy, okay, for about that. I'm still in front of law in here. Okay, I'll continue for about my report evaluations on this morning. Context say also since last night my case actually already being couched for the true chronology case actually kind of dominant for being alibi. Context say this actually for about international Indonesia America actually since 2008 actually for hating my parents monumental national Indonesian actually, and definitive being mediations similar with that by local people's neighborhoods. Context say this actually continue for about problem with my parents since years of his monumental national Indonesia, and just being court, being advocate by RE 6661 discovery. They say actually this about business actually, and it's about Indonesian money rupiah actually. Context say for that also not kinda following actually for being affluent for about the ownerships money rupiah also. Context say this just for business actually and being busted by Internet ID 666 one could discovery actually since 2008 actually for hating about my parents monumental national Indonesia, meaning for about money rupiah also actually being conspirate being groups by some peoples just made that advocating context say they're actually not kind of expert for responsibly my situations actually. For the progress content happening also say this actually for about proving conversations years before between alien family international and United States of America. It takes already being thief actually, but not kind of specific for being assignments by particular on international for about their documentary courtesy. The national sky state UFO performs on internet. Say I'm being complained because about that actually, but just got confirmations next actually. I'm kinda part for that actually. Context say for international millennium appointment 666 actually being blunder actually by particular on international I just made perfect for the continue just fixing for that and being complained because I made this advocating case include for about the courtesy documentary national sky state UFO for about the template or the documentary also. Context say that's actually already been conversation with alien family since years before my reform and definitely being complained by alien family also, but being insist being take for the video for about the documentary courtesy and got confirmations also say alien family international also reward for their doing actually take the video for about the equal numbering of peoples on next years going to be matched for the documentary courtesy but seems not being remembered by the particular and context just need to make the report conference so it can be a fluid for next conversation with Alien Farm International. This actually for me understanding context actually the appointment not to be argued actually because the conversations actually already sustained since those courtesy documentary actually years before my reform and just not being attention to this moment progress. Okay, that's also for my next confirmation on this moment morning. Okay, still trying slowly for made these evaluations since I'm still being accompanied by those obsessions maniac I got confirmations. Actually, I own trouble for being sabotaged actually by them. Okay, I'll continue for my speech. Okay. The guy contact again, kinda variable, racing on my ear. That's also the visual, kinda real. Actually, I'm definitely being indigo in here. Actually, okay, I just say that. So we can be understand each other, okay? For our alibi also, I believe we going to get for the conclusions among us because kind of distance actually for being watch each other. I'm talking about money actually, definitely. Okay, I got contact. That's what I say on last second. Kind of efficient actually. This actually need to be alibi. Okay, definitive dominant happening by alibi or such countries. God contact this can be evaluated actually, can be replayed actually. Landerform international definitive may become for police also, or perhaps just challenging in the same time. I don't know. This actually need the United Nations for the resolutions. Okay, I'm trying. Okay, I got contact. Say this identifying suspect actually began from international socialism's communists. This actually about communists. That's also I want to say that, but kind of confusing because that's actually atheist based on my opinion or my reference learn for about them also. It got confirmations since year 2008 actually being camouflaged, being continued for about the international communism movements by local peoples from Indonesia country. This actually already been wrote on Karl Marx books, socialisms actually. Context this actually about Indonesian Republic actually part of international communism's struggling since years of Indonesian's proclamation day until this millennium. Kinda confusing. Okay, I'm trying to make the evaluations report. Context need to make the story speech. This actually already being understand context since Indonesian Republic Proclamation Day was to be. My context actually at first conversations we need to understand Indonesian Republic actually socialisms. Context for that also I'm kind of confusing for that. And next context actually Indonesian Republic win for the proclamation day because also being supported by communism parties actually already being message already being become an international also since that years by international Soviet Union also. That's for the contact happening. Okay, I'm trying again. Next, contact saying to me, actually, Indonesian Republic is one of international communism's Soviet Union. That's meaning a similar actually with another countries on international that's on status as part of international Soviet Union foundations until this millennium. That's what I can tell, okay? Kinda confused, but seems getting clear for me. Yeah, fairness first also. Because we already in these years actually, yeah, very capitalisms for our mindset. This whole democracy, not similar actually, but okay, I'm trying again. Okay, I'll continue for my story. Okay, okay, I'm being complained. Okay, I need to straight to about this story. Okay, okay. Yeah. I'm not joking in it. Okay, I get it. Okay, I'm trying slowly. Yeah, that's the content. Kind of confusing. Indonesian Republic is one of international communism's foundations. That's the content. That's actually the first beginning to the supernatural phenomenon millennium. Okay, I'll continue. What they say actually, I'll try to remember for that. Okay, I will really remember. Okay, I'll continue. Okay, I got context say through this moment millennium, actually, one by one of international communism's countries already go down, already lost for the victory, for about the struggling, visions, commitment was to be already go down. Context say actually made left behind for the last stand about the communism's international, the Indonesian Republic, just single fighter international. Context say this actually from international communism's Karl Marx foundations, community or groups actually made movements through Asia. Context say actually suspect include also beginning from Asia countries, India or China's countries also. Context this actually on correlations to about Middle Asia, Arab continents and Israel for next conspirations suspect identifying international communism's context on this millennium actually. And just being trust, being estafette, context from Indonesia country, Indonesian Republic, this actually kind of visions for their status suspect actually on the first beginning. 2000 and 2008, just challenging my parents, the general, context being betrayed actually by my parents in same time on the moment happening. This actually also conspirations business for challenging America as a capitalism So actually the continue status hijacker Asia continents by the camouflage method supernatural actually. Conspirations began from Indonesian local people's neighborhoods. So actually already met with International 6661 Government Conference 2008, 2010 to this moment is 2025. Okay, I'll try again. Okay, this kind of needed to be not important actually. I'm kind of nervous for talking about this. Okay, I'll continue. There's actually any correlations for about Islam Indonesia context actually part of socialism's international communisms that still stand for their mindsets socialisms actually. Context actually already been wrote on Karl Marx books. I already say that. That's already wrote on Karl Marx books. That's my context also. Actually, socialism's not just atheists for their ideology, fundamentals. Context Karl Marx wrote that on his books actually. Supernatural as the dictator internationally, finally, yeah. Proletariat, dictator, socialism's context that's actually the commune, communal, community, or .com, communism's internationally, Soviet labor occupations needed, labor, yeah, Pearl Harbor, or I don't know. So actually any gods there on Karl Marx books actually. That's about dictator of international actually. Supernatural going to take over for the commune. Yeah. So this actually any correlations for Indonesian fundament visions ideology Pancasila context for about Pancasila actually. Factions or next entity groups international for communism's another actually. Context this actually already being wrote also on Karl Marx books for about Jihua context for about the dictator futuristic Jihua context about that also. That's actually being understand, being comprehensive by their politicians and just coach me as their black good on my first beginning case 2008, 2006, 2005, 2010 until this year 2025. Context said that actually include Indonesian military. This actually need to be understand for Indonesian Republic Fundaments Proclamation Day. Actually, for about revolutions nationality from Holland government think context being take over actually, and that's moment actually years before Indonesian Proclamation Day actually include my parents as the wanted one. Context Adibana actually part for this chronology actually being chased, being wanted by internationally Soviet this millennium. I don't know. Got context that's actually about China since they own problem with my parents for that and just continue from my first beginning case 2008 or years before 2008. Already being transformed for about Indonesian National Monumental Jenderal Adivana, because about his Pancasila fundaments explanations, context kind of betraying international commune, actually the communism Soviet actually made another directions for the Manifesto International, just what being alone as ideology and already being busted by international communism's connections trust context say Asia peoples actually China peoples that made domination politic on Indonesian domestic since years of this millennium, and also about economic and Stockholm or take over for Indonesian's monument assets also, such also Bank Rakyat Indonesia and also about Bank Indonesia and Mari Logo Rupiah, even also for about another Indonesian's Republic on the problem context for about that actually. My context actually need to be explained so can be directions for about the situations actually. My context Indonesian Republic actually being called for lead for continue about internationally commandant communisms on this millennium. By that supernatural actually que je crois context actually last stand for about the internationally groups countries already non able anymore context Cuba and also Venezuela and about Suriname also context next actually being couched being blunder for about status suspect actually by Netherlands also by Holland also said actually they're also part of international Soviet Union was to be and just want to make confused because about Indonesia on another directions fundaments for international actually. This for the contact I just nervous for made the evaluations report but actually kind of similar with that actually for the confirmations to me. This actually Indigo but say actually Jakarta actually the one that messaging me for about these segment confirmations. A girl contact also say I'm actually understand for that since my first beginning years being sabotaged by this phenomenon. Human commanding goes from grave as similar with my conference years before. Local people's neighborhood actually connections for about the socialism's vision's mindset from Indonesian students college movement that I'm involved actually for my learn reference when I college was to be actually context I just left that for being attentions by me and being reminding through this Mayan calendar. That's kind of confusing to me also. Say, actually, they are the colleague for the international visions Pancasila or socialisms for betraying about my parents also, meaning being blunder, being ignored by me, context say I'm kind of ignoring them for their orientations, visions, actually. The supernatural for socialisms. Because I just own self-opinion, context say already being busted for about my opinion, my answer. Actually, I'm kind of subjective for understanding them because I just say on that years for about their activity supernatural, actually just using the ideology mindset socialisms, not kind of directly to about the visions ideology actually, just bleak good by them actually. Context say for about that opinion also, already being caught and being reminding on the moment calendar. I need to fix for that context say actually the situations progress case being stuck for about that. I just been wait for explain that so we can be directly to the basic situations meaning also. Because human commanding goes from grave, Perbegiat or Perbeganjang from town Medan, my neighborhood, and also about Clinic Jamin from Java Island. Said actually, this not just about jealousing my parents' national Indonesian monument, actually, for my parents' ownership assets or status stakeholder, definitive money logo rupiah. Context this actually also for continue about international Indonesia leaderships, kind of common commandant for socialism's countries actually. This actually for continue about Middle Asia Arab countries struggling also for the next continue agreements. So I just not want to attention that and want to be reminding through this Mama Progress calendar. Okay, I think I will be resumes for the contact about that on this Mama minute. Okay, I'll continue again what I want to say more. I mean, I just confused. Is there left behind for being talking here? So can be report, can be confirmed. Okay, I already remember. Okay, I got the confirmations. Okay. I need to promote, say for that. I need to reminding again for about Alien Family International. That's the next conference on this minute. Okay, I will remember for that. Context Alien Farm International still needed to be reminding by RD 666 one good discovering me because actually premier heroic actually our savior actually on this progress for about our case supernatural, even that's already being pioneering for the advocating real conference court by RD 666 on discovering me. Actually, Landerform International, they advocate truly the savior and also about the ownership Stockholm for may come through the appointment 666 through this millennium. Context actually already been conversations since years before my reform on United States and also Europe and chasing also on Arab Islam continents, country of Israel and also countries of Islam on international also. Actually already been conversations since just before my reform. My context through this moment progress by my mediations status particular need to reminding again context for that, which meaning actually not to be blamed, not to be left behind for about the regaining actually definitive Landerform International our contributions status as foundations also to countries of their ownerships actually England and also Europe and countries on Europe also. I got the message since yesterday and also Arab and even also include United States of America context for about US dollars also and also first beginning of United States of America Independence Day decorations context Landerform International actually foundations should not be left behind for about this moment progress case or experience laboratory international supernatural which made understand for us about gods and also religions and our visions futuristic that still need to be guided by Landerform International. Context say about that also. The money logo 666 Alien Family Ownerships. That's already being signature, already being agreed by my register legality in front of law. But about my 666, 666 Islam, 666 Trinity of Christianity. Context definitive already being approved also by international and Islam and United States of America. Context this actually for about future of human being also, and then also for about alien right also on international as similar with human right also for the ordinary interactions, friendships on countries also Europe and also United States of America and also Islam and Israel. Syariat Islamiyah America context say for that also. I kind of confused. Syariat Israeli Islamiyah America Syariat. Context actually Odin wrote on Al Quran actually pentagram Satan for meaning also about 666 in the world. Futuristic of America or about human next domicile civilizations. Context for about planet Mars for next resolutions international human beings humans to countries for meaning perhaps. But I believe we still need to be attentive also, because this situation progress seems being caught, being trapped by local peoples that actually I need to be warned actually for identifying their status as the conspirator behind or suspects primer actually. Okay, that's for the next confirmations contact on this morning. I'm being disturbed again, kind of smells in here. Okay, people, I'm being promoted also, okay, for reminding also about my next contact happening on this moment morning. Contact say from Jakarta also. So I'm actually being promoted for become next Indonesian leaders. For meaning also I'm kinda futuristic Indonesia president candidate actually. Definitive, because about also my status as son of Indonesian national premier monument actually General Adi Bana and Sulatina. Context say that's also for about my next confirmations contact on this morning. I'm actually being kept, being maintained for that. Context say I need to make my conference so can be promoted actually for made understanding or not confusing about this progress also. Okay, I think that's all for this morning evaluations resumes by me. Since they still about jealous also got confirmations actually my status definitive candidate for Indonesian national president next actually premier for about eliminating my advocating case actually definitive that's part of problem to my parents also by his friendships context say this actually kind of blunder because about their mindsets actually not very wise actually they're kind of old people's context say about that also definitive suspect which may betray for about friendships with my parents also say for about Islam Indonesia I don't know say for that also just being pushed to make the report so can be directions about the situations progress also. Okay, I think that's already enough for the reasons. I want to say thank you very much for the documented short video. Got confirmation we say I'm actually available for take that as part of my banner video conference because I actually match for continue our conversations years before my reform actually. Thank you very much, Alien Fire International. Okay, I'll close this conference. Catch you later. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to apologize for about my Arabic, okay? Kun fayakun, that's the word. Nothing impossible if God made the decisions for our destiny. Shalom Christiani. Bodhisatya Om Swantyasu. Definitive, I'm being yelling in here. Very crowded and I still bankrupt, okay? I need to reminding about that also. Seems just want to escape for the responsibility also. Got the contact on this moment. See you again.